Okay, folks, welcome to today's project. What you see here is my collection of sausage making tools and ingredients. Um, we're getting ready to make some sausage. Um, and I like to, the day before I get ready to do, just kind of run an inventory, run a maintenance check on everything, make sure everything is working and clean. And what you see here is a collection of all of my equipment and seasoning. What what I have here, I'm gonna start off here, which is this is very important, overlooked but very important. Is a temperature probe for. I plan on smoking some portions of the sausage that I make. Some flavors I'm gonna smoke it, and the temperature probe is very important in smoking. If you do some reading on smoking, a couple guys on the internet have some real good information on smoking your meat. Um, and a temperature probe is very important to that. Um, Here I have all my cure and my seasoning. I'm going to use um, deep south. I got a different collection of seasoning. They all work pretty well. Um, what I find is they're all pretty close. What you might have to do is add a little bit more per pound of meat. And that's where I don't have it on the table, but I have a little notebook. And I keep all my notes in it from year to year, all the adjustments I make, what brand seasoning I use. And I kind of keep up with that, helps me keep everything in order where I stay consistent from year to year with making sausage. And one other thing I want to note too, you can buy a pack of seasoning blend 1 year and go back and buy the same brand name and flavor next year, and the consistency might be a little off. So one of the things that I recommend while making sausage is to taste your sausage before you finish up on it. Before you put it in a casing or put it in a poly bag or whatever you're going to use, in fibrous casing or whatever, taste it to make sure the seasoning is there. And if you make any adjustments to it, just note it down. And after a couple of years, you'll find that you can pretty much have it lined out. Hit or miss, you're real close. Nothing's going to be 100% consistent every year, but you'll be real close where it doesn't make a difference. Right here, you see my powdered milk. This is something new I'm going to try this year. I've just been reading some of your more professional sausage makers. They use powdered milk as a binding agent to help retain moisture. And if you've ever made vintage sausage before, you know that moisture is an issue with any wild game. So I'm going to try the powdered milk ingredient this year. Here you have my Food Saver vacuum sealer. This is very important to me. It adds a great deal of shelf life, freezer life to your food when you vacuum seal your any foods. All meats we buy, anything we can vacuum seal that we're not going to eat immediately, or we're going to, if we buy it in bulk and want to save it for later, I vacuum seal it. All my fish, wild game, everything, I vacuum seal it. Bags are a little expensive, but you save in the long run on not having to throw the food away. That's one part of the saving that's overlooked at the end of the. If you could really just like pile up the food that we throw away in a year and put a value on it, you'll be surprised from being freezer burnt and whatever. But anyway, moving on. This is a scale. This is a 44-pound scale that I bought. It wasn't expensive, but it's been very durable and very handy. I think we bought it from Sportsman Guy. I left the plastic on it. I don't know. Sometimes I do that crap with some of my equipment. I don't know why. Again, I think it's to keep the newness. I don't know. Here is a 20-pound sausage stuffer that I bought off of off of eBay. It's not a Lem's, and it's not one of your sausage stuffers here, but when I looked at the specs and the way it was made and the price, I said, well, I'm going to give it a try. Actually, this would be my first time using this stuffer. I had a small 5-pound Lem stuffer, but it just took so long to do a big job. I sometimes stuff upwards to 100, 200 pounds of sausage some years, and it just took too long. So I invested in a bigger one, a 20-pound, at least cut the work down. 3 different horns for the stuffer tubes. Here is a meat mixer. I decided to buy that because if you ever tried to mix meat with your hand, you can run into some consistency issues. Plus, I like to have fun with what I do, and if it turns into work, I stop having fun, and I tend to, sometimes get away from the quality that I want to hurry up and get the job done. So I decided to get this mixer so that I don't stress myself out. A lot of times I do this by myself, and it's real strenuous doing 100 pounds of sausage by yourself. But this is my meat mixer. It says 17 pound, but you can put 20 in it. They make them a little bigger, but I figured for my home use I didn't need anything bigger than the 17 pounder. All right, and this right here is the pride and joy of the fleet. This is a homemade grinder that a buddy of mine, he's a cabinet builder and a real good carpenter. The scars you see right here, had a little issue with some bolts right here, with a bolt, and I had to cut it off with a saw, a sawzall. And the blade I'm going to touch that up a little later, sand it down and restain it, make it real pretty again. But what I have here is a number 32 manual meat grinder. Now, there's a couple of different companies out there making them. They all work for a homemade grinder, but I chose this one because this one had bearings in it. Now, whether or not I know bearings are real better than a bushing, than a Teflon bushing, but this project and this type of application, I don't think we'll be turning speeds or putting enough pressure on it where I need the advantages of having a bearing. Now, what a bearing is just more parts to lose. I've already had one of the ball bearings come out of the bearing sleeve, so I was able to put it back in, but they make some with just a Teflon bushing, and I think either way you can't go wrong. Right here is driven by I think this is a half horse. Let me look. I was debating that the other day. Let me look and see. I'm sorry. It's a 3/4 horse. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you right now, fellas, this is all you need on a meat grinder, on a grinder's application like this. You don't need a 1 horse and a half unless you grinding up dinosaur meat. I don't know. I haven't had any problem with deer, pork, beef, anything that I've put in here. So, but it's a 3/4 horse, and this nice little fancy cover that he made covered all. This is the product of his work. His name is Robert Mayu, and he's a real good carpenter. He made this cover for me, and I was very impressed. This is like my pride and joy of my tubes, of my babies. What I'm going to do is let me take the cover off so I can show you the. Well, you don't need to. Actually, it's just a belt-driven, real quiet, with a pulley wheel on the back that's driving this grinder. Tomorrow, I'll show you when I take it off and to clean it. I'll show you how it's put together. But this is my pride and joy right here. So here is the sausage fleet, ready for action tomorrow. I can't wait to get up tomorrow and start making this sausage. I have the meat defrosting. I might need to get up in the morning and put a little water on it. One mistake I made, and I wouldn't call it a mistake, it's just you need to know way ahead of time when you're going to make your sausage. The Boston butt, I'm planning on using 50-50 Boston butt. The Boston butt that I bought, I froze them whole. So what's going to happen is, because of the big mass chunk of meat coming out of the deep freezer, it takes a while to defrost. So I pulled them out. By time I get to it, it's going to be 36 hours of defrosting in the cooler. That's not long enough. If you defrost a solid piece of meat that big, a 8, 9, 10 pound piece of meat, you can pull it in the cooler 3 to 4 days before you need to use. Just check it every day, twice a day, to make sure that the temperature is, still adequate enough where you don't have any bacteria growing in it. But if you need to, if it does defrost before you're ready for it, just add ice to it. Add a little ice to it to keep it cool. And then when you finish, it'll be cold enough to grind in the handle, but won't be frozen. So cut it up before you freeze it. That's one of the things I did. I did that with the deer. I cubed the deer up and pre-weighed it, put it in Ziploc bags. The Boston butt was already weighed when I bought it, but I just didn't cut it up. I put it in my deep freezer. So that's one tip you can add to kind of help, especially if you if it's a spur of the moment thing where you want to hurry up and you find you got time, you want to hurry up and make your sausage. But that's it till tomorrow. I'll get back with you guys tomorrow, let you see how things are going. I am very excited. This is the batch that I'm going to put a lot of quality into and take my time with it. I have the whole weekend to do it. My smoker is outside. It's growling, and I got to chain it down. It's ready to go. And I'll get back with you guys tomorrow. So long.